What's up, everybody? Welcome to Philly with John Marks. As always, sponsored by Bet Parks and Central City Toyota. We're live on a Friday morning, a windy, cold Friday morning in the Delaware Valley, as it is tournament time, and we're enjoying it. So it is a free balling Friday today. Now, what's a free balling Friday? Well, during football season, obviously everybody's totally focused and fixated on the NFL. So it's a football Friday. But once you hit a weekend like this, where you have college basketball, March Madness going on all weekend long, man, let's just kick back and relax on a free ball on Friday. And joining us on the show today, he was up late working last night, got up early this morning, PHLY Flyers, Broad Street Hockey. Our own Bill Matz joins us. Bill, good morning. Hello.
Good Friday morning to you, Johnny Marks.
Shaved the mustache.
I did. It was a mistake. Didn't realize I was going to be this zoomed in on the, I got the AJ Hawk head here, where I'm just a giant beluga whale, but we will persist.
No, you look great. No, you look great. It's just, I was like different. I saw you the first time this morning. It's like, what did he do? And then Tyler very quickly is like, shave the mustache. I'm like, because I shaved my face down. I had the longer beard. And it makes me look older because there's so much white in my beard. When I shaved it down yesterday, you could barely even see any dark hair. It was almost all white. So I look a little bit younger with it shaved. So this was intentional, but I also have done it where I was trying to trim the beard, and you take too much up here, and it's like, oh, hell, now I just totally screwed the whole thing up. And you got to shave it pretty much all the way down. But good work by you.
Sometimes you just have to start over.
Yeah, listen, it'll grow back. It'll grow back. You're a married man. Like, what the hell do we care? You know what I mean? We're married. Nobody to impress here. All right. Well, it is a free ball on Friday, Bill Matz, and we're going to talk about it all. Like, yesterday Tyler and I were talking about, you don't have to watch any college basketball pretty much the whole season. And I know there's people out there that love college basketball and watch a lot of college basketball. I don't. If the Big Five teams aren't good, I'm pretty much not paying attention at all. Yeah, like I'm a front runner. Villanova hasn't been good since Jay Wright left. Temple hasn't been good since, like Fran did all right when he came in, but since John Chaney, right? Like college basketball in this town isn't very good. But then once the tournament starts, it's like you've been a diehard the entire year, right? And that's what happened yesterday. I'm tuned in. I'm doing laundry. I'm doing housework. I'm working around the house doing stuff. Every TV in every room has the tournament on. And it felt so good. It was I really, really enjoyed it yesterday. Well, I know you're glued to the Flyers, and you were probably working yesterday or getting ready to do some shows, but were you watching some of March Madness yesterday, day one?
Oh, yeah. We had some games on in the studio while I was there. I got in early yesterday so we could record a little crossover with our CHGO friends for the weekend Flyers game. And no, it's just great to have. It's the greatest background. Oh, there's 2 minutes left. What's going on? Get locked in all of a sudden in sports. It's like you said, you don't have to watch all year, and suddenly, yep, here we go. Tournament time. Yeah,
and you're right. It's the ultimate second half, final 10 minutes of the game to where you don't even really have to watch the rest of the game, because that's when it's going to get tight. But you also get these storylines, right? So you get the players that you never heard of, and it's a great story. You get who is the old lady? What college is that from, Tyler? The old lady?
Oh, Loyola Chicago,
yes.
Sister Jean.
Yes.
Sister Jean, right.
Sister Jean, the crying flute girl after Villanova won. You get all these great storylines, and we already have our first one. So McNeese State won yesterday, which, by the way, even though the 12 beat the 5, and I love the fact that they set it up to where a 12 is always going to beat a 5, right? Like they know that it's like they're smirking when they do it. Like, all right, Clemson, you're going down to McNeese State, who's the 12 seed. But the big story of that game isn't that they won. It's that this Amir Khan guy, what's his nickname? He's got a nickname. Karma or Ara. Amir Arma Khan. He's the student manager. So he's the nerd that is the student manager of the team, right? And he embraces it, but he raps. So he leads the team out with a boombox out on the court while he's rapping. Now, we can't play the song or anything because then we would get the copyright because we're on YouTube. But he has become like this world-class star. So The cheerleaders are wearing his socks during the game. He has NIL deals with Buffalo Wild Wings, Tick Pick, and Insomnia Cookies. In fact, the boombox he came out with yesterday was a Buffalo Wild Wings boombox. This guy. The first offbeat story of the NCAA tournament is Amir Arakan, who is a huge sensation now, Bill Matz.
Do you just realize you threw away your college years, John? Like, you just absolutely wasted them when you hear these things.
You know what it is? It's one of these things where, like, if I would have known 20 years ago, I just borrow every cent that you can and buy housing, buy property in Philadelphia. You'll be a billionaire if you just keep buying and keep buying and keep buying. It's never going to go down. Yeah, like I wish I could be back in college and know what I know now about everything. This kid, are you kidding me with this kid? He's got NIL deals. Oh, it's so good.
That is outstanding.
Life is good.
Like, he's going to be in a video game. That's just amazing.
Seriously. Like there was a comedian back in the 80s. What the hell was his name? It's this Yakov Smirnoff. He's this Russian comedian. I actually think I think he's going to be up at Soul Joe's up in Potsdam at some point, or one of the places. And I don't even think he was very funny, but he would do this thing where he'd say, "America, what a country," right? Because like in America, you can be this student manager and make a ton of money while still in college. It's awesome.
I don't want to hear the American dream is dead, John. Don't want to hear it.
It's not. So Drake beat Missouri yesterday. So that was an 11 beating a 6. Arkansas and Kansas set up for a second-round matchup. Rick Pitino and John Calipari, noted enemies. They hate each other. Will that hate continue, or will they, because they're now both old, will they kind of like be friends and have fun with this matchup? But, so day 2 today. Do you do a bracket every year, Bill?
Of course. Yeah. Well, something gets dropped in the group chat eventually. Everyone fills one out. It goes poorly for all of us. None of us watch college basketball.
So Tyler, because like Tyler and I didn't talk about this yesterday, but Tyler told me that he did a bit of research and then he filled out a bracket every year. And I know it's going to sound like that. I'm just like, oh, Mark's is like the anti everything. I'm not. I don't know. I don't fill out a bracket. I don't think to fill out a bracket every year. The $1 million bracket that you'll hear on radio contests and things like that. Oh, if you pick a perfect bracket, you win $1 million. Okay, good luck picking a perfect bracket. Nobody has ever come close to it. So you're not winning $1 million.
It was like the middle of the afternoon yesterday, and I see that there's like 1% of brackets left. How could anyone ever possibly do this? It seems impossible. Like, first of all, like you said, they're setting it up. Like, oh yeah, 12 beats a 5 every year. Which one? Maybe them all. Who's to say? You got to pick one at least. Good luck.
Closest to a perfect bracket. And somebody actually came kind of close. The odds in filling out a perfect bracket are 1 in 9.2 quintillion.
That's a number. That's a real number.
The best was in 2019 when somebody got 49 out of 63 games, which is extremely impressive to get 49 out of 63.
It's nowhere close to perfect.
No, it's not. All right. Well, there you go. We'll do day 2. So we're going to be at Parks Casino tomorrow from 1 to 3. Bet Parks. Ant was there yesterday. I watched some of that. It looked like a lot of fun. Today, Anthony will be back from 11 to 1, and then we'll be 1 to 3 tomorrow, right on the outskirts of the sportsbook, looking in on the sportsbook. All right? So if you want to pop over and see Ant today or come over tomorrow, we'll be there from 1 to 3. Tyler will be out. I think Black Gritty's coming over. Maniac Malloy will be there tomorrow afternoon. So come check us out tomorrow. It's going to be a lot of fun. This portion of the show brought to you by Glatt Hair Restoration, GlattHairMM.com, 610-980-3000 on a free balling Friday. This is the last weekend, Bill Matz, for there to be no Phillies baseball. Think about that. So we're entering the final weeks of March. So April, May, June, July, August, September. The next 6 months, it's a long season, will be filled with Phillies baseball. So, like, that's it. On Thursday, boom, Phillies, Washington, 40-degree weather, down in D.C. I overall don't feel, it's not a negative buzz with the team, but it's also not a positive buzz, right? And even though I think everybody realizes they're a playoff team, they'll be a good team, they're in a really good division, there isn't a lot of buzz going into the season. Like, you're excited for that. I'm excited for the Phillies start because I love baseball and I love the Phillies. But it's also like, I'm not sitting here touting World Series this year, just based on how the last 2 seasons have started, which probably isn't fair to the team because their starting rotation is great. And we'll talk about Ranger Suarez coming up, how he's injured. But like, overall, if the Phillies haven't been good the last couple of years and this is where they were this year, we would be so excited for the start of the season. But kind of as it stands, we're like, yeah, Phillies will be good. Let's start the season. And then we'll kind of take it from there.
No, that's like you're just saying, okay, the next 6+ months of weekends filled with Phillies baseball. Like, all right, here we go. Getting back into another one. You know, I got 12 Flyers games left. And then, it goes right back into another sort of emotional torture. And listen, it's baseball. It's always fun. Got my opening day tickets. Can't wait. It will be a great time. I'm just, once you're into the July, August of it, all right, we're chugging along. You know they're good. It seems so spoiled of me now, like growing up in the era I did where like they usually lost 95 games. Like now it's, they're going to win 90+ games. They could win the division. Who's to say? They should be in the playoffs. Yeah, I'm not that excited. It's weird how far we've come, but the last few endings to the season have just been so frustrating that it feels like, okay, time to take on that emotional grind again. Yeah.
Are you going down with Tyler? Or you have your own ticket?
Home opener.
Oh, home opener. All right. Yeah, I was going to say, you're going down there because Tyler's going down, right, Tyler? Arthur tickets, they're going fast, but there are tickets
available. But I will say this, too.
Trip.
Bill can join us for our event here. We do have a tailgate for the home opener with Cavs Catering.
Ooh, look at that. All right, so that's for the home opener, and then Tyler's going down with Philly sports trips, and there are tickets available for that right now. If you want to take the bus down, that's a lot of fun. I know people like to have fun on the bus down, and then you tailgate, and then you go into the game, and then you can sleep it off when they drive you back from DC, which is sure to be about a 2.5-hour drive, 2-hour drive at least during that time.
Oh, certainly. It's that actually sounds like a really good time, though. I might have to join Tyler on that trip.
Just bring your parka.
It is going to be cold, boys.
That's opening day, baby.
All right. Well. So I mean, I look at this team, and like I had said to this, and I want Tyler to get involved in this conversation too. I look at this team, and it's probably unfair that they're not getting buzz, but that's more because of how the team finished and where they've been the last couple of years. When you go from World Series to losing in the divisional round to losing like they lost last year, it's like, all right, where are we going? Like, is the window, because that's a window closing right there, right? That's the window. And to me, it definitely feels like their window of opportunity, certainly, like it's closing pretty fast. However, when you look at the strength of this team, it's the starting rotation. And Ranger Suarez, we'll find out if he's going to be ready to start the season. It doesn't look like he's going to. But if that's your 5th guy, or that could be your 5th guy, like, all right, it's not the biggest deal in the world. This team will win based on how they're hitting in the playoffs. But you got to get to the playoffs first, and the starting pitching is going to be... If this team doesn't win 90 games just based on their starting pitching, Tyler, I'll be shocked.
Yeah, it's kind of funny because the line, I think, is set at 91. Oh, my God, I feel like I'm ascending into heaven with the light behind me.
It's because the sun has shifted.
This is my ascension. But yeah, I think the line is set at 91, and I think that's probably right on the money, which is really kind of frustrating if you're trying to bet the line, because you're right, their pitching should be good enough for 89, 90, 91, 92, just like off the rip, if the starting rotation stays healthy. The Braves they're getting healthy and they've gotten a little bit better. Obviously, the Mets get a little bit better with adding Juan Soto. I think there's 6 good teams in the National League, and 3 of them are in the National League East. And so it's going to be, everybody kind of beats up on each other in the East. And I think the same can be said for in the West. And you're going to have a bunch of teams just kind of like, all right, if we can take 2 of 3 at home this series, or we can split on the road in a 4-game series, if you can tread water against the rest of the good teams in your division, beat up on Washington, beat up on Miami, beat up on the bad teams in the Central, beat up on the bad teams in the West and in the Giants and the Rockies, that's where your number really balloons, because you're going to probably split against the Braves a bunch, split against the Mets a bunch, split against the Dodgers a bunch. You beat the bad teams, that's what's going to separate you.
Yep. And I think they will. That starting pitching, like you said, it's one thing against the good teams. It's another thing against the rest of the division. So, all right, so tempered expectations this year. But Bill, is that where you are? Because, like you had said, I can already tell you're so focused on just getting through the rest of this Flyers season, and we'll talk about that in Block C. It's not been a great end to the season with the Flyers here, Bill. Needless to say, but if you remember last year with the Phillies, they were so good in the first half that it was like, wow, this team's unbelievable. And then they were more or less 500 post All-Star break. And the team that we saw in the playoffs was kind of the team that we saw the last month or two or three of the season, which was, right? The lineup seemed like it was predictable, right? Like guys they were still good, but they weren't great. And I just wish they would have added one impact piece to the lineup. And they sniffed around about trading Bohm. I'm sure they would have liked to trying to freshen up the lineup up a little bit. Unfortunately, they're kind of stuck. Trey Turner was that last big move that you had. So, really, this when you get to September and in October, if Trey Turner's not being the Trey Turner that we signed, that the Phillies signed, I mean, they need him. They need Trey Turner. He needs to be the big signing they have this year. So.
No, I would have loved if they're able to add someone. That would have been great. But how many, not to channel Ruben Amaro Jr., but you can't have every guy in the lineup being a $20+ million guy. You have enough of them. They just have to come through. The dudes you have just have to be what you're paying them to be, especially in September and October. And that's just not what we saw last year. And I do think that that's kind of what is leaving a bad taste in everyone's mouths, and why we don't have probably the amount of excitement we should have for, like Tyler said, one of the 6 good teams in the National League. I think they can win the World Series. It's definitely on the table. It's just after the last couple of years, you go, well, what changes for them when they run into the great pitching staffs in the playoffs? Yeah,
it's on the table, but that's also, how is the team playing in September, October, to where they have that feel, right? It's the feel of, wow, they got hot at the right time. The chemistry is off the charts. Everybody is playing their best. The pitchers, the bullpen, everything came together, right? You don't know if that's going to happen. You can't predict what this team is going to look like in October. And that's what's frustrating. Also, another name, JT Realmuto. JT. Now you wonder, he's going to be 34, or he is 34. He's going to be looking for a contract extension. A catcher that is a fine defensive catcher, but because of his bat made him extra special. Doesn't have the same bat that he did before. And I don't need power, but I need impact RBIs. I need big situational times where he comes up, and you just haven't seen that from JT. So you wonder if the decline continues this year, because you have an all-star catcher. You want an all-star catcher. I don't know if JT is at that level anymore, at least he was.
It just hasn't seemed like it for a couple of years, where he was a really good hitter, especially for a catcher, and just losing a little. It's all right. He's an okay bat. It's not anything you're afraid of. You go from, oh yeah, he's in the top half of your lineup, to, all right, how can we limit his at-bats so we have him behind the plate and healthy? Because that's really where his value is, more so than what he brings to you on offense.
Absolutely. What do you got there, Tyler, with JT?
So, you're talking about JT, and I kind of was talking about this yesterday on the Philly show a little bit. They needed a backup catcher who can play probably closer to twice a week this year, because JT Realmuto is one of 4 starting catchers, like the guys that are listed as the everyday, who are going to be 30+ heading into the season. And there's only 2 guys in the league. It's Salvador Perez, who just continues to hit the cover off the baseball, and Jacob Stallings, who's a journeyman middling catcher, that are older than JT heading into the season. He's into his year 34 season. I think they're going to try to get him off his feet a little bit more this year. And that's why, to me, on top of the options and the fact that, quite frankly, Marchan's just better than Stubbs, that's why, to me, Marchan makes sense, assuming he stays healthy. Yeah. He's the guy that can catch multiple times a week, as opposed to Stubbs. And so I think they're going to try to get JT off his feet. especially as the season gets into like June, July, August, so that he's ready and fresh come playoff time.
All right, coming up, yes, Tyler just mentioned it there. Garrett Stubbs, the mascot of the clubhouse, will not make the Phillies opening day roster. We have to, Bill, think of a goodbye song for Stubby. He'll probably be back, but we need, like with Brandon, you needed a very heartfelt, sad goodbye because it's like, wow, like my life is flashing before my eyes. Brandon Graham's retiring 2 Super Bowls. With Stubbs, it's not as much of an emotional goodbye to Stubby, I would say, but we still need a song for him. So we'll think about that. Also, coming up later, we're going to play Good Idea, Bad Idea. We have to decide whether it's a good idea or a bad idea. And much, much more Philly with John Marks back in 2 and 2 right after this. All right, Glad Hair Restoration. Glad Hair Restoration. I was at the Razor Bar in Wayne yesterday. Emily, because they have the TV and they watch the show, so we're on in there. PHLY. But I got the freshie. Hair was looking good. Still haven't found. I need to buy new product because this is the backup product that I have for my hair because I lost my regular product. But anyway. Hair's still looking good, and this isn't like I didn't go to Glad Hair Restoration. I'd have a shaved head. I would. Maybe Mr. Clean Shave, maybe just keeping it close, whatever it is, because however many years ago that I went and saw Glad Hair Restoration, and I've had my before and after pictures out there before. It's like I had the typical male receding hairline. When you get into your 30s and your 40s, you lose your hair. You're like, oh, this sucks. You try to comb it differently. You try to style it differently. And ultimately, either you give up or you just deal with it, right? Which is fine. Like some people keep their, shave their head or whatever, and it looks great, right? Like, but I was like, you know what? I'm being told I can keep my hair. And that's exactly what I did with Glad Hair Restoration. And it's a simple procedure. There's so many different new avenues for hair loss out there, all stages of hair loss. So I had hair restoration. But to go with that, there's also maintenance, right? So you may not need hair restoration. You may not want hair restoration. If you're starting to lose your hair, if you have a moderate amount of hair loss, hair maintenance may be the way to go. And Glad Hair Restoration has the most experience when it comes to hair, over 30 years. That's all they do is hair. So if you're having a hair loss problem, you're worried about it, contact them today at 610-980-4000. 610-980-4000 or the website is gladhairmm.com. Gladhairmm.com. You can also text them, 610-980-4000. Text them and they will get back to you immediately. Hoo-ah. All right. We said it. We're going to be there today. Tyler's going to be there. Tyler, are you going to bring cigarettes to smoke in the sports book? I don't know if you can smoke in the sports book.
First off, I don't know if you can. And second, John, I say this with the most sincerity. I've actually never had a cigarette in my life.
Really?
And I'm hopefully keeping it that way. I'd like to keep it that way. So no, to answer your question, no. But I'll have a beer with you.
You're not going to start smoking in your 30s?
Not going to. No, but I'll have a beer with you.
All right, I'm just kidding. But like, you get what I'm saying. Right? Like when you go to the horse track, like when I was growing up, you went to Philly Park and you smoked cigarettes and you threw the tickets in the air when your trifecta didn't hit. It's not like that. The Bet Park Sportsbook is unbelievable. We'll be there tomorrow from 1 to 3. Also, the Bet Parks app, the online casino, they have you covered for college basketball. All right? How about these future bets? $25 bet on Duke, they win it all. That's $80. $25 on Florida plays $100. $25 on Auburn pays $125. $25 on St. John's. $600. You kidding me? $25 on Michigan State plays $625. There's always another way to win on the BetParks online casino and sportsbook app. The only app I would ever use. I would never, ever, 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 ever use anything else. Live dealer. So we're talking about table games on the app. This is live dealer stuff, folks. Blackjack, roulette, poker, hot online slots. Check this out. Based on Rocky, Ted, Goonies. How about Breaking Bad slots? Cash Eruptions, 88 Fortunes, Cleopatra, Peaky Blinders. New users get up to $1,000 casino bonus back if you're down in the first 24 hours. BetParks.com. Download the app right now and enjoy all the action and excitement from the casino at your fingertips. You must be 21 and then PA, New Jersey, or Michigan for the BetParks app. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Hoo-ah. There you go. We're back on a free ball on Friday. Bill Matz is in his home studio, mustache-less today as the Flyers lose another one tonight. That's coming up in Block C. We'll get a Flyers update with Bill. So won't go anywhere. All right, real fast. Garrett Stubbs is he has been sent to AAA. He will not make the opening day roster. Rafael Marchan will be the number 2 catcher, but he's always injured, so I would expect Stubby to be back. Bill, I'm not a mean person. I would think that anybody that knows me would say that I'm a nice person. I'm a kind person. I'm a good person. I'm very happy to see Garrett Stubbs the hell out of Philadelphia. Adios. Goodbye.
It was one of those things where a couple of years ago when you were still looking at JT as, yeah, he's going to catch like 145 games and he is an elite catcher. Yeah, we could have a mascot. He can be the DJ. That can be our, our backup catcher, and that's fine. But now that, like Tyler was saying, if you're going to get in the backup twice a week, you need him to hit when he's in there. It's got to be somebody better than Garrett Stubbs.
You needed an upgrade.
Yeah.
And they did him a solid. They brought him back. He can be a AAA, and he can come up in September, and he can be the first guy to come up, and he'll be with the Phillies this year. Again, I don't want to seem mean, all right, but like I also don't need to see Garrett Stubbs in there anymore. He was fine for a year or two, and then you know what he did, and then what did he do with Arizona? He said they were going to jump in the pool in Arizona when they clinched it.
Yeah,
he lost me right there. That's like, come on, bro, shut your mouth. You're the mascot. You don't need to be talking.
Maybe someone else can say it. Just plan on doing it and don't say it out loud. But that guy who's going to have no impact on the series whatsoever, like maybe he's not the one who should say it.
Right. No, he should not. All right. Well, he'll be back. But I don't want to do bye by NSYNC because that's kind of like mean. And again, I'm not trying to be mean because he is a nice guy, Garrett Stubbs. I'm sure, and his teammates like him, which says a lot. But bye would be what I would play for him on the way out. Since he is the DJ, right? He's the clubhouse DJ. They'll just have to find somebody else to do it. Maybe Ranger can do it. They can have more Latino music in there.
Maybe does he make his own exit playlist? And why wouldn't it be the saddest possible version of Dancing on My Own that plays him at? Like just an acoustic cover, just like bummed out dancing.
Oh, can't you just picture Stubby on the bus, on some bus ride to Erie for a weekend series?
You downtune that thing, you put it in minor chord, all of a sudden it gets real sad and probably a little creepy real fast.
Oh,
there you go. Exactly.
It's not right. This is not right. All right. Couple things here. Pika's Pizza announced they're closing their store on Westchester Pike in Upper Darby, but they're not closing. I saw a lot of people that just read the headline. They're like, oh my God, Pika's Pizza. I've eaten there once and haven't been back since, but how could they close? This is horrible. What are we going to do? They're just closing the location on Westchester Pike in Upper Darby. That they're from what my understanding is, they're probably going to go to a smaller location that doesn't, because they have a lot of square footage. They have like a dining room and stuff, and like, it needed to be updated and or whatever. And you know what? Like, their kids are running it now. You don't need the overhead. So as long as they can still make the pizza, make the freaking pizza and do some takeout food. Because Bill, I know you're a Jersey guy. My wife's from Broomall, so I would go from her house to Pika's. It takes less than 10 minutes. It's right down on Westchester Pike. It's a good pizza. It's not an everyday pizza. It's not a functional every Friday night pizza for me, but it's a good pizza. And if you haven't had it in a while, man, it's a really good pizza, a Pika's Pizza.
John, all I know is having tried to start brick and mortar restaurants, you don't need that overhead. Like that sucks, honestly, maintaining a whole restaurant. I know people trying to do it right now. I know people who gave up food trucks and are like, this is the worst decision I've ever made. It's a pain in the ass.
Yeah. I grew up working in restaurants, and I made the decision of I'm going to go back to college because ownership or being a manager, like I don't need to work weekends. I don't need to work holidays. I don't need to be like drinking all the time and everything else and whatever. So I made the right decision. But so like Pika's Pizza is it almost like a Detroit style? So for people that haven't had it, Tyler, because you're a Bucks County guy, have you had a Pika's Pizza?
I have not. No.
Yeah. So it's a rectangle pizza. It looks like it would be. It's like almost the shape of a, of, 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 a, of and it has cheese underneath and then the sauce on top, but it's not a lot of cheese. It's like it's enough for the pizza. Like it really, really works. But I remember Dave Portnoy did the one bite challenge with pizzas, and his reaction was like, "What is this? Like what am I eating right now?" And he really liked it. By the second bite, he's like, "I like this. What is this?" And then by the end of the slice, you're like, "Wow, that's really good." But like, do you like deep dish, Bill? Chicago style deep dish?
I think it has its place. It's not my first choice, but I enjoy a good deep dish from time to time.
From time to time. It's for people that haven't had deep dish, you're not picking it up and folding it and slamming 3 or 4 slices. You're using a fork and knife, and by the second slice, you're like, I don't want any more of this. It's really, really heavy. Pica's isn't that heavy, but it's the same kind of thing. Like, if I get pizza every week, I can't get Pica's pizzas every week. Like, I have to have more of a traditional Italian, fold it, bite it, bang it, boom. That's what I'm doing.
I need a good 4 to 6 slices just to feel real again, that kind of pizza.
All right, so what's your average if it's dinner on a Friday night, how many slices are you putting down?
I probably go, I would say 2 or 3, depending on the wing situation or whatever other
No wings.
No wings. All right. 3 minimum.
All right, so nobody, like, you don't have to worry about how many other people are eating off the pie. It's your pie. How many are you eating?
Never have. Oh man, I mean
4 minimum, right?
Oh yeah, I'll put half that pizza away, no problem.
Tyler.
Oh yeah, it's 3 to 4 for sure, and then you're probably thinking about like if it's just you, you're like, if it's just cheese, if it's just a plain cheese pie, I could probably sneak a 5th one in.
You know what I've been doing recently? So my one daughter, my middle girl, who is 100% my middle girl, she doesn't like the pizza that we get, and we get a it's a good pie. It's good pie. She likes Domino's. For whatever reason, I somehow found Domino's. I'm like, well, let's try Domino's. So that's all she wants. So I have to pick up the pie and then drive down. It's like 1.5 miles away. So I time it where while I'm leaving the pizzeria and I hit the Domino's app, they'll have it ready for me in like 6 minutes. And I walk in and they know me and they hand it right off to me. And it's almost like a commercial. And then I leave. The Domino's pizza, don't sleep on it. I'm just telling you, I actually prefer the Domino's over the pizzeria. And I know if Anthony heard me say that, he would probably fire me on the spot because he's, you know how he is with food.
That can't be.
But listen, I'm just telling you, Domino, don't sleep on it. Try it out. Domino's pizza, delicious.
It has seriously improved over the last few years. Being a loyal Pizza Hut employee, for my teens and 20s, I hated Domino's, but once I got out of there, I did learn to appreciate it.
Oh, I forgot that you were telling the story of the lunch buffet at Pizza Hut, which I used to. You know what you used to get when I was in elementary school? They used to, if you read a certain amount of books, they would give you this like coupon, and you go to the Pizza Hut for
book it.
Yeah. And you got the personal pan pizza. And like being an adult, it's like it was a personal pan pizza. But as a kid, getting a free personal pan pizza from Pizza Hut felt like the biggest freaking deal in the world, didn't it? Oh, it was so great.
Oh my God. I lied about reading so many freaking books to get those stickers. Absolutely.
So would you be able to give up French fries or pizza first? If I said you cannot have for the rest of eternity, French fry or pizza, what would you do? The two most functional foods. Everybody loves French fries and everybody loves pizza. There's not many people you'll meet that'll be like, oh, I don't like pizza. I don't like fries. Everybody universally loved by every American.
I can only imagine this is what you would feel like if I asked you to choose between your kids. Dear Lord. I think French fries might be my favorite food, but just in terms of like functionality, I think you'd have to keep pizza. Like that's a meal. Like, can you just eat fries? Like,
it's not a meal.
I love them, but I need burger and fries. I need wings and fries. I need something else going on there.
Yeah.
I think you have to keep the pizza.
Yeah. Friday nights, I can't order fries for the family and I don't have to worry about, you know what I mean? Fries have to go. And I probably enjoy because and I'm diabetic, so it's hard for me to eat fries often. But if I'm passing by that McDonald's and it's lunchtime and I got nothing on my calendar, Big Mac and fries. Are you kidding me? People that sleep on McDonald's, Big Mac. I know it's not the 2025 thing, and now everything's chicken sandwich. You got to go pay $15 for a burger somewhere or whatever. Give me 3 Big Macs. 1,650 calories, Bill Matz. 550 a piece. When I worked with Jamie and Anthony mornings, I went through a stretch where I was on the way home going to McDonald's in Collegeville and getting 3 Big Macs and taking them home and eating them.
John, I say this as the least healthy person I know. How are you alive? There's nobody with worse dietary or habits than me.
So
that is insane.
This was my morning. I would get 2 at Wawa. It was 2 for $3 of the king size Reese's peanut butter cup. So it was 6.
Okay.
So I would get an extra large coffee and 2 for $3. So 6 peanut butter cups on the way to work and wash it down with the coffee. And then I'll have more coffee at work. And then when I would leave, I would go to McDonald's. I'm telling you, I probably did this 3 days a week. I would go to get the Big Macs, 3 Big Macs, and dip it in ketchup on top of the special sauce. Bro, there's a picture of me and Gilbert Gottfried.
John,
I look like I ate Gilbert Gottfried in the picture.
John, when you were diagnosed as diabetic, were you like, how could this be, Doc?
No, I was a skinny little thing. That was in my 20s. No, man, I was a slob. And then you get into it and it becomes a radio bit where you're talking about what you eat all the time, and then it's like, yeah, whatever.
Happen.
And then you put on like 15 pounds. And you're like, Jesus Christ, what have I done here? I don't know. I don't know what the hell's wrong with me.
That was with Big Daddy's snack of the night. I was, maybe the constant ice cream isn't the best idea.
Bro, I actually was thinking about Big Daddy, and I was thinking about you and bringing this up. Because big when I was looking back at Wechter, so Joe Wechter retired after 38 years at WIP, and I was thinking about like when I left the Fanatic and went to WIP, it was like, wow, like I'm gonna be able to like Rob Cherry, who I've listened to Rob for I don't know how many years. Like I'm gonna get to do like a crossover with Rob, or like you know what I mean. And like Rob wasn't the biggest name in the world, but like for me, it was like wow, it was
You've
so cool.
You've heard him your whole life.
Yeah, it was so cool to get to know Rob Cherry, and Rob's a great guy. And then Big Daddy. So when I first went to WIP, I was doing nights. And during the Philly season, Spike said, I want you on. I don't want you just on doing pre and post. So I did a lot of 10P to 2A shifts. And at the time, my daughter, like I had young kids and my wife was working full time. So I had to get up at 6 o'clock. So I'd work these 2 a.m. shifts. And Big Daddy extended crossover, which really meant the first half hour of his show.
His whole first segment.
Yeah, the segment would go easily to 25.
Yes.
Hey, John, I came in, I was listening to you, and a couple of things really caught my attention. Number 1, next thing I know, it's Mike Angelino's like, Big Daddy, we got a break. It's 2:30 a.m. and I got to be up at 6 o'clock, Big Daddy. What are you doing? And you're obviously you and Ava are married, and you worked with Big Daddy for a long time. So miss the big guy. Only got to work with him for a short amount of time, but he's everything you thought he was. He's unbelievable.
The most ridiculous human you've ever met. It's not a bit. Just the most ridiculous person you've ever met.
That's a great way to put it. He really, really was.
He's not. It's not a bit. He's just insane. Like that's
stand-up comedian. Oh my God, him and Joe together and they asked me to open up for him one night at that theater in New Jersey, which is like literally was like the highlight of my life. To come out and do like 5 minutes, which was the most. By the way, it was the most intimidating thing, being like I'm coming out and opening up for Big Daddy and Joe Conklin in this huge theater with people that were packed. Oh man, miss him, miss the big guy.
Absolutely.
All right, coming up, we're gonna play good idea or bad idea, and wait till you hear this. All right. Also, what is the typical Philly sports habit of a Flyers fan? We will investigate with Bill Matz from PHLY Flyers and Broad Street Hockey. That's coming up. Philly with John Marks. Don't go anywhere. All right, TrueMark Financial. Everybody knows that TrueMark Financial is my credit union. Couldn't be more impressed with just the feel for them, right? Like I went in there. Obviously, we talk about them here, and they're a big partner to PHLY. But I went in there because I didn't want to go to like my regular bank. I was opening up a business account and I wanted to go in and, I wanted to all right, I want to try something different. I went in, I didn't say like, hey, John Marks, I'm going to come in. But no, I went in and the service I got, the family feel that I got from the entire branch, most of the people that work and I went to the one in Trooper, Pennsylvania, the Audubon location. And it was just unbelievable. It was a great feel. I went in first time with a small business, opening up a business checking account. No freaking idea what I was doing. Didn't have the proper paperwork. And and I felt like an idiot, but like they helped me with everything. They're like, we can get a lot of this stuff online. Don't worry about it. Got it set up and ended up Mary Ellen, the branch manager, was a longtime listener to me on the radio and now with PHLY. So really amazing. And right now it's almost spring and that means it's time to spring into savings. That's right. If you have financial goals, buying a house, taking that dream vacation, or building your emergency fund, TrueMark Financial Credit Union has the perfect savings account for you. TrueMark Financial offers high-rate certificates and money market accounts to help your money grow faster and work harder for you. So visit TrueMark.com for rates and to learn more. Federally insured by the NCUA, rates are subject to change. Hooah, there we go. Tyler Zulli, what do you got, Tyler?
John, you remember when it was warm for like 2 days or 3 days?
It was
well,
glorious.
it's cold again, and if you want to get out on the slopes, let me recommend Shady Rays to you because you do still have some time to hit the slopes, whether you're a skier or a snowboarder. Shady Rays has the best pairs of snow goggles that you can buy. They help you see clearly. They look good. They protect your eyes. You're not going to get windburned, and of course, they have them available in both adult and kid sizes. But if you're thinking about the summer, you need your shades, especially for those warm days that are ahead. And Shady Rays has you covered with the best durable frames and crystal clear optics, making them the perfect choice for any outdoor adventure. Whether you're going hiking, biking, you're going to the game, you're going to the beach, whatever it might be, you can get your pair at Shady Rays. They come in a ton of different colors and a ton of different styles. I like the sleeker, sportier look, but you can get your aviators, you can get your classic sunglasses, whatever the case may be. You can find them at Shady Rays. And if your shades ever take a hit or go missing, don't worry about it. They have the best protection in all of eyewear. Every pair is backed by their lost or broken replacement. And if you don't love the pair that you buy, you can exchange them or return them worry-free, no worries whatsoever, up to 30 days. So PHLY viewers and listeners, head on over to ShadyRays.com and use the promo code PHLY to save yourself 35% off a pair of polarized sunglasses. You'll find out for yourself why 300,000 people, including myself, have rated Shady Rays 5 stars. So use the code PHLY today at ShadyRays.com.
Thank you, Tyler. Make sure you subscribe to PHLY Daily at allphly.com, and you can get Rich Hoffman Jr., who puts out the PHLY Daily newsletter. It's really he's sending you what used to be the Daily News when the Daily News was awesome, the sports page. That's what he's sending you to your inbox. Everything you need from what happened on the network, what happened with the teams, embedded videos of everything. I'm like, if there was one thing I could look at every day and I couldn't look at anything else to get all my sports information, it would be that. Rich does such an amazing job with it. You can get it, again, at allphly.com. And make sure that when you're watching the show, if you're watching live as our chatters are every morning, we appreciate you. Continue to do that. But if you don't watch it live, please comment, like, subscribe. It's a great way to get involved in the show, is commenting on what we're talking about. So if that's pizza or fries or whatever offbeat conversation we're having, please make sure you comment and like on the episode and subscribe to everything. A couple things here. Oh, and here's another thing I heard when you were driving in this morning. I disagree. The first Lionel in the Jeffersons was better than the second Lionel. He just had more range. The kind of stuff I could talk about with Big Daddy, man, it's just unlimited. I could have done a 4-hour show talking without even mentioning sports once, but sometimes he almost did that with his show. But
he'd prefer it that way. Certainly, it would be that would be the show he would want to do.
It certainly was. And Bubba from Sanford and Son was better than Grady. You're crazy. All right, so one thing, then we'll play good idea, bad idea. I saw you put a tweet out, and I'm like, yeah. So after Brandon retired, right? Like you see, and I saw Elliot put this out in a tweet, and he's right. How many freaking pictures people have of Brandon Graham? Right? Like everybody was posting pictures of Brandon Graham. And when Jason Kelce retired, Jason's not out there as much, in large part because Brandon is the type of guy that realized that he can only play football for so long. So he was taking every freaking paycheck he could get. So he was active out there, but also he's like so great with people. But man, there were a ton of pictures that were out there on Instagram and Twitter and Facebook and everything else. And Brendan, but I saw you tweet it out. How many years did you engineer us doing the Brandon Graham show? 3?
Man, it was probably 2 or 3. Yeah, I think close to 3.
He is everything you would expect him to be. Sometimes when people meet their heroes, they're disappointed because you have this idea of what they are. Ike told a story he grew up in Cincinnati where he met Oscar Robertson, who denied that he was Oscar Robertson, the great NBA player. He's like, no, that's not me. And Ike's like, yeah, it is. And it's like, no. So like you meet your hero and he denies that he's him, right? Paul O'Neill did that to me before in Clearwater, actually. See, I'm not Paul O'Neill. I'm like, yeah, you are. Like, what are you talking about? Anyway.
It's just a game they play.
Right. Yeah, it is. But Brandon was everything you would expect. Like, Brandon knew everybody's name. Brandon's not the type of guy that knows nobody's name. And, no, Brandon would say hi to everybody, would shake everybody, would hug you and everything. Brandon was just such a genuinely great guy. It's amazing.
No, he was. And just, I've engineered a lot of those shows. I did a lot of remotes. And, the hosts are all great. You work with them. But when you have the, guest athletes, they rarely even, recognize you. No matter how many times it's just the way it is. They're there to do that job and then they're out. I give them the headphones and that's pretty much that. But BG every time, hey, what's up, Bill? Give you a pound. How you doing? How's Ava? Every single time. And it wasn't just me. It wasn't because I was special. It was literally everybody in Chickies. That's just who Brandon was. Yeah. And it made your root for him harder. It's what made his play on Tom Brady so much more special because it's that's that guy. That's that dude that you feel like you have a personal relationship with.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm happy for him. I'm happy that he was able to win the Super Bowl and retire, and now he's gonna be Mr. Eagle probably for the rest of his life because he really is Mr. Eagle. He's the best. All right, good idea or bad idea, Bill Matz and Tyler Zulli. You're going to decide whether or not this is a good idea or a bad idea. Before we play the video, Tyler, here is the idea. A franchise is available. Franchise opportunities are available for a new bar concept. It's called Crush Yard. It is a bar grill pickleball restaurant. So they have pickleball courts. It's like Dave & Buster's with pickleball, with nachos and burgers and beers and drinks. Bill Matz, good idea, bad idea?
Man, I thought this was going in a totally different direction where where it was like a destruction yard or something. You drove heavy equipment and destroyed cars and stuff. That would be a great idea. I guess the pickleball craze is worth picking up on. I suppose it's a good idea. This isn't something I want any sort of part of, but it sounds like enough people play that it would be a good idea.
Good idea. Tyler Zulli, good idea, bad idea?
Good idea because they're capitalizing on, as Bill just said, the pickleball craze. I'm not a huge pickleball fan. Doesn't mean much to me, but good idea from the fact that I think right now pickleball has exploded and they're capitalizing on it.
Yeah, I'm going to go bad idea. Anytime you want to invest in a franchise, just realize they're taking it at least half of your profits, and it's already hard enough to make money as it is. But the concept itself is interesting. So look, we have a video. This is from their Instagram. So Bill, right now, there are 2 locations, one in Charleston, South Carolina, and one in Orlando, Florida. I heard it on a national radio spot where it's franchises are now available. Actually driving in this morning, and I'm like, oh my God, I gotta see what this looks like, right? It looks a lot better than I thought it was gonna look, right? This isn't the YMCA with or like a bowling alley. This place is, so play the video here. Take a look at it. It is, so brand new courts, but it really is, it's like a Dave & Buster's. See how people are watching, and there it is. Oh, so around the courts, it's like an updated Dave & Buster's, because Dave & Buster's is a little bit dated now. You know what I mean? Hooters is really like a 90s or a 2000s thing. So it's like a sports book, high ceilings.
Yeah.
But I want nothing to do with playing pickleball. I'll be totally honest with you. But they have leagues. They have different leagues for beginners and for the experts out there. And it's just not a bunch of old people. When I played pickleball, I went to the Y. And after I played in the game, the guy that I was playing against had a hair dryer to his balls. He was drying his ball hair naked. And you know how the old guys in the locker room love being naked. So
listen, John, you got to make sure you got to get rid of any moisture down there by any means necessary.
You do, but that's not this place. This seems to be a very young, hip place. But it does. So Tyler had a take on it, which I agree with, because like when I kind of like I like my beer and food separate from my activity, right? Like if I'm bowling, all right, that's bowling. But you're definitely expending energy if you're playing pickleball, right? Like, especially if you're one of these hardos that are going out there and trying to show off in front of everybody playing pickleball, right? So what are you doing? Leaving the court and going to have wings and chugging down a beer or a Mai Tai or something? I don't know. Like, I guess to like just go there and hang out and be a part of the culture, the pickleball culture would be cool.
That's the type of person that this would attract. Is not the type of person I think I would want to hang out with.
No.
I think that's what makes it a bad idea, is that it is going to be like UFC night at Buffalo Wild Wings and everyone's in a tap out shirt. Like, this is just like, yeah, you know what? I'm good. I didn't know there was a fight tonight. I'm going elsewhere. Like, these people are going to be trying so hard at this. This is not a leisurely, oh, yeah, let's go have a couple beers, maybe play some pickleball sort of place. I don't think that's the sort of crowd it's going to attract, and I think that's what turns it into a bad idea.
It's an elite reference. The UFC crowd on
Yes.
UFC night, elite.
You walk in, you have
reference.
no idea there's a fight. You realize real quick.
Do you know who else is not happy to see a UFC night and UFC fans? The bartenders. Because they're coming in to watch the fight and they're drinking a water and maybe a beer. And they do it. Because my wife worked at a bar that's no longer around. But on the UFC nights, you want industry night where all the bartenders and the servers are coming in.
Yes.
That's where she's making like $500 on the night. UFC night, you're walking with 100.
Oh yeah, that's
T-shirts.
and I will say I have heard that my people, the wrestling fans, not much better when it comes to the tipping and social skills. So don't want to just single out don't want to just single out the MMA fans.
Oh man. All right. So Flyers lose last night. 12 games to go. I won't make you spend much time on this because honestly, I don't know how many people watching right now care to spend much time on it. But like you had said, 12 games to go. Let's go. So here's my question. How do you finish the season strong to where people have a good taste in their mouth? Or are they going to have a good taste in their mouth regardless?
I can't imagine anyone's going to watch these final 12 games and be real excited about the way this thing is going unless you are just all in on Tankathon and hoping for a top 4 draft pick, because that's real doable. But like this streak they're on now, they've won 2 games this month. They're averaging under 2 goals a game. They haven't broken 4 since February 27th. They're just not a good team, and they shouldn't be. Like, they sold at the deadline. It is a little concerning that the guys who probably are supposed to be here when the dust all settles on this rebuild, not producing either, but they've got 5 forwards in their lineup every night who are 4th liners at best. Half the defense is in the developmental stage of their career. They're just not going to finish the season strong. It will be very surprising if they win 4 of the final 12 games, in my mind. That's just the way it's going to go. And that's why they have to hope for this top 5, top 4 pick, hope they can make a big splash, and hope that they can get people invested in next season, because the way this one looks like it's ending, it's not going to, oh man, can't wait for October. I don't see that happen.
So Tortorella finishes his 3rd year without making the playoffs in even one of the years. He's back next year. That's without a doubt.
I don't know if it's without a doubt, John. He's going into the last year of his contract. Coaches don't like coaching on that lame duck year. They say it destroys all their authority. Now, maybe it's John Tortorella, surefire Hall of Famer, and it just feels as if his career extends here beyond coaching a few years. Like, this is a long-term commitment for him. So maybe that makes it a bit of a different situation. But, there's a player poll that comes out a few weeks ago, and like 40% of the league says number 1 coach they wouldn't want to play for, John Tortorella. And like, that's just number 1. how many guys is he like in their top 5?
Right.
Now, it doesn't really matter, but at a certain point, you are going to need to sign free agents. You're going to want to trade for guys who maybe have trade protections that they'd have to waive to, come to Philadelphia. Is he a deterrent in that? He might be, and I don't think it's 100% he's back next season. I think he probably is, but it's a conversation once they have to start trying to attract talent to come here.
Yeah, I mean, if they keep him, they throw him the 1-year extension bone just so he's not a lame duck, and then they fire him whether they want to keep him or not anyway, so it doesn't matter. All right, so let's we end the week, Bill Matz, by throwing it to our intern, and he's our stat intern. Daulton the intern with his stat of the week. Daulton, good morning. How are you, buddy? Daulton, hello. There he is. Oh, he's got his Phillies gear on today. What's up, Daulton?
How you guys doing today, guys?
Good. What do you got?
So with Phillies coming up in about a week, we have the final bench spot for the Phillies coming up, and it's going to be between probably Cody Clemens or Buddy Kennedy. So I have some of their spring training stats.
Oh, what do you got?
So for Cody Clemens, he has 13 hits, 2 doubles, 1 triple, 2 home runs, 7 RBIs. He has 2 walks with 11 strikeouts, and he's batting .310 with an on-base percentage of .370.
Oh, all right. And that was for Buddy?
No, that was for Cody.
For Cody. All right. Well, Cody has some good numbers, and we know what he does in the big leagues, right? All right. What about Buddy Kennedy?
So Buddy Kennedy only has 5 hits, 1 double. He has 3 home runs, though, and he has 7 RBIs. He has 9 walks and 9 strikeouts. He's only batting .156, and he has an on-base percentage of .349.
So it's a matter of whether they want to keep an outfielder or an infielder. And, I mean, listen, we'll see. We'll see. All right, wait, who do you think gets the nod, Daulton?
I would give it to Cody because we've seen him before in the big leagues. But, yeah. I mean, it's also kind of coming down to would they rather have another left-handed hitter on the bench or would they rather have a right-handed hitter on the bench?
Correct. Everybody that's watching right now on TV, shout out to you. Going on over to allphly.com to watch the rest of the program because right now it is time for... It's overtime. It's overtime. We are officially overtime, Daulton the intern. All right, so listen real fast because we want to talk to you before the season starts. What's your official prediction for wins for the Phillies next year?
I think you might call me crazy, but I think they're going to get 100-plus wins this year.
Whoa!
I think they have a really good season this year.
All right. Daulton the intern. Daulton, have a good weekend, buddy. We'll talk to you next week.
Have a good weekend, guys.
There you go. Is this the first fight for a roster swap between Cody and Buddy? Cody
I can't
against
imagine.
Buddy.
I gotta believe that is a battle that has waged on in baseball clubhouses for centuries, quite honestly. Man, I love Cody Clemens. That guy's just an extra base hit machine.
He's great. No, he is. Tyler Zulli, will you be discussing this? You have the PHLY Phillies show today. Will you be discussing that particular, or have you discussed that on the show?
Yeah, so that's something I talked about a couple of weeks ago. I think it really does come down to the lefty-righty matchup thing, and if they don't want to carry another lefty, I think Cody Clemens, unfortunately, is the guy that's going to be left out, despite the fact that he's a better hitter, in my opinion, than Buddy Kennedy.
Yeah. I
also don't think it's out of the realm of possibility for the Phillies to think about bringing in a right-handed bat from outside of the organization. Now, I brought up Adam Duvall a couple of weeks ago. I think in that ship has kind of sailed just because he hasn't been playing, and I don't think they're going to bring somebody in who hasn't played. But I think you're going to see in the next couple of days or so, when guys start to get released, when guys start to get waived and sent through waivers, when guys start to get, they opt out of their minor league deal with an invite to camp type contracts, you may see one of those type of players scooped up. That's a right-handed hitter, play a little outfield, play a little infield, probably a utility guy. It's not going to be anybody that's like earth-shattering, but I could see them making a move that way to acquire a right-handed bat.
No, you're right. Like the guys that aren't going to make the team across Major League Baseball, now their agents are calling around and saying like, all right, he's got an opt-out, so would you be willing to give him, even if they're not willing to give him a major league contract, it might be a better spot for them to get to the majors. So yeah, you'll see some maneuvering around. But yeah, there you go. All right, Bill, what do you got? What's cooking on the Flyers? What do you got going on this weekend?
Afternoon games Saturday and Sunday. They are in Dallas tomorrow, in Chicago on Sunday. So there's a good one on Sunday. Connor Bedard v. Matvei Mishkov, the two best players from their draft class going head to head. Really looking forward to that one. At least it's something to watch for.
Yeah. Right now there's storylines, wins and losses or whatever.
No, those don't matter.
Everybody have a great weekend. Tyler's coming up today with his PHLY Phillies show. Remember, Anthony's live at Parks Casino, Bet Parks, at 11 o'clock. 11 to 1 is his show today. And then we are back tomorrow, actually, from 1 to 3 p.m., live from Parks Casino. Come out and watch the games with us tomorrow afternoon. Appreciate it, Bill. Everybody have a great weekend, and we'll talk to you tomorrow at 1 p.m. See ya.
We all silly like the mayor.